Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for February the 12th through the 18th, 2024. So, as we begin, I'd like to first thank everyone who's returning to this weekly series and for hanging in there with us, and also to welcome anyone who might be new to our Angelic Wisdom community. So if you're viewing us for the first time, welcome, and make sure that you subscribed, um, select the all notification bell, like, dislike, and also leave your comments. And especially if you're new, just say, hey, I'm a new viewer, and just let us know um, that you're there and that and your thoughts and your um, feelings about what you've viewed. If you'd like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services. And if you are looking to support my channel with a donation, you can go to my um, pay, PayPal me link for Angelic Wisdom. Now, all the links that I'm mentioning, you can find them in the description area below this video. Also, there's some other content that just came out this week. So if you haven't had a chance to see, as of yet, the general monthly angel reading for February, I suggest that you do. That'll be the very first link in the description area. Now, I've published all of the angel scopes for the different 12 zodiac signs for this month. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do that. You can access them through my Facebook page, which is in the description link below, or through Twitter, or you can go on this the YouTube channel to find them as well. All right, so let's take a deep breath. And just really let go of anything that's on your mind. And just be aware with each breath of the sensation of relaxing, just total relaxation as you breathe. And just tuning in to your angels and your guardian angels. Allowing yourself to feel the love from them. And then you might want to place your hands on your heart. And have a sense of allowing your heart, as you breathe in and out, your heart chakra to just open wide and relax at the edges. And then sending a signal of love out to the cosmic heart, Venus. And a guide from Venus that I've been working with recently, Silvana, connecting in with her energy and allowing her to come in and to clear and cleanse away your heart chakra. And your space where you're now seated. You can have her clear the entire apartment and the area around your apartment or home for 1 mile above and below the surface of the earth. And just anything that's on your mind in terms of relationships and people in your life that you might be having difficulty with, or at this moment you are perceiving those difficulties in the relationship. Whatever you're creating or whatever you perceive is being projected towards you. And just give her permission to untangle and uncord those relationships, the negative aspects, the projections, the illusions. And also, Archangel Raphael is coming in as well, and he's stepping into this circle of light that is surrounding you, that is protecting you. And he is connecting you with abundance consciousness. And Archangel Michael is also coming through to help you to communicate with the highest frequency of love in all of your interactions. And Archangel Raphael is helping you to see through the eyes of love so that you can be compassionate and unconditionally loving in your perception of others, so that you can find peace, balance, and harmony in your life and circumstances at this time. And so just breathe and let it go, and trust that your angels can orchestrate new connections and outcomes. Now, I don't know, they just wrote, I see couples, so it doesn't mean it could be partners, it could be business partners, it could be any type of relationship dynamic, but there is a imbalance where one looks at the other one. I just saw the thought stupid. So that means like it's just telling me that there is some kind of inferiority sort of complex or dynamic superior, like you're seeing someone as being, um, you might feel that this other person that you're having problems with is smarter than you, or that's better than you in some way, or that really what you're really saying is that you're comparing yourself and you're not measuring up or good enough in some way. Or it could be the reverse, where you look at somebody and you don't really see yourself as in this way, but your frustrations might be that this person's not really getting what you're wanting them to do. They're not understanding you. You feel like you're better than them. It could be that, you're looking at this person and thinking to yourself, I do all this work spiritually, and here's this idiot in front of me that's just, and it could be somebody on the television. I mean, these relationships don't have to be um, someone that you're physically interacting with. It could be, you know, because everything that we're doing, even on social media, the people that we're watching or through television, and that we constantly are following them for whatever reason that might be, and we have these dynamics going on. Remember that even though they might not be consciously aware of you, but energetically, you're having some kind of interaction, and it's causing you to, it's a distraction, and it's frustrating you in some way or making you not feel as good about yourself. So just be aware of relationships that you need to let go. And so why do we follow certain people or groups of people who are similar, and and they kind of make us beat up ourselves, um, you know, makes us think, oh well, this person's so fit, all these people are so fit and famous and glamorous, and then makes you feel like you're not. So just be aware of how, and this is, I mean, we could get into like it's toxic and all this stuff, but let's not even go there. Let's just focus on how um, your choices are affecting you. I think that's really what the angels want to get to the nitty gritty of, is how your choices are affecting you, how you choose or in a moment interpret a situation or person, and how that choice to see them that way is affecting you. And importantly, as Archangel Shamiel comes up, how it's affecting your heart. Because anything that causes you to love yourself less or to love anyone else less, that's a huge impact on your entire reality. One that we have to be more, we have to safeguard, um, and in terms of being more discriminating about those kinds of actions and repeating those patterns, because after a while it becomes a huge part of your life, like a huge boulder that's just sort of there. And now this is starting to cause you to feel a certain way. It's shaping the entire um, sort of way you see yourself and the way you see others. And so just be aware of that. Because right now, more than ever, we need our hearts to be open fully to love and all its possibilities. Because this potential has the great power of shifting an entire world, not just your own reality. That you are able to be this profound source of love in the world. Just for a moment, just think about anybody who's ever represented the most loving, um, sort of personality, someone who made you feel completely safe, maybe comfortable. You just felt like you could just be yourself around them. Someone that's just made you felt so appreciated in their eyes and so valued in their eyes. Just think about how that made you feel. And it's not that they could have said anything to you. My neighbor growing up, they were an older couple. His wife Mr. and Mrs. Sparrow, and their house was behind our house, but not directly behind, but the next house over, like to the right. And you know, when I would go out the back door, not often. I kind of wish I went out that back door more often. And they've been, but Mrs. Sparrow, she would always have this beautiful voice when she spoke, and it's just a very soprano voice, and she just say, "Hi, Barry," and that smile when I look when she said, and her face was just radiating so much love, so much love. And when I go to the fence in the backyard to the edge of our yard, she would come over and she just talk with you a little bit, but it's nothing she said to me. It was just her energy, her aura was just so full of light. It was very angelic. And, I've never seen her any other way. And I'm sure she was human. She had probably was not always that pleasant, but to that's the interaction. That's how she chose to show up before me and most people. And so, what an influence that leaves. There were so many other people like this, but she's the first person that comes to my mind. And so, how important it is for us to keep our energy full of love and light at that magnitude, and to radiate that, and the impact it could have on so many others. I just can't imagine anybody really being in the presence of someone like Miss Sparrow and being able to bring their stuff, because she was just so captivating, and in such a simple way. So just allow yourself to really think about the way that person made you feel about yourself, about the universe, and then make a conscious decision to be more discriminating about what you engage, who you engage with, but most importantly, because it's never about them, because you can't really change them, but you can influence them by the way that you show up. So decide how you want to show up. And the only way for you to be able to show up in this way is to really, and it's nothing wrong with us seeing contrast, seeing people and looking and going, wow, that's something to admire. That's something I want to, that is wonderful. And it's okay, if you see something and you're like, wow, now that is not something I want to get involved in, or that's not something I want to be. And we watch things, or we interact, what we watch is sort of, we feel like we have more of a choice because we could just turn on the screen or TV, whatever it is. But when we're out there in the world, sometimes we're just running across things because we're on a route to our route is taking us there through certain things, and then we're exposed, and it feels like we don't have a choice. But then there's a purpose that our route is taking us through those journeys, through those paths. And so we have to sort of be aware that in those moments, we have to decide how we want to show up, despite what we might see, and how it might impact us and what it may cause us to think. But we still have a choice about how we want to show up. And we really need everyone to show up as the greatest possible light and with compassion as much as you are able. All right, so let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with, and it's Archangel Purlimiek. It's two archangels that have similar names. And this is the archangel of nature. So he's holding sort of like this seedling, and between both of his hands. Yet he's not holding it, but he's just giving it space. He's nurturing it. And in a way, I feel like this seedling represents something that's beginning to blossom, but it's not fully at its, hasn't realized its full potential. And in a way, right now, when we start to really nurture um, others with love, we give them, love gives others the space to be who they are. And it doesn't mean that you support everything that someone else is doing, but we send love to give them the space to blossom in their full potential, the potential of their divinity. When we send others love, we remind them of more of who they are, the light and the love, the source that they originate from. So you sometimes you want to control the way things are going to happen, whether it's a person or a situation. But the most important thing in this week, and it's very simple, is to not only show up as love, but to also give love, send love to others in order to give them the space to find themselves, their true selves, and trust that they're on a journey and that they will find it. So it's like in nature. Now, when we go out in nature, we automatically connect with our own spiritual nature, as the environment is not holding any form of negativity. It is always pure. Now, it does absorb and heal, transmutes and heals the negative energies that we are putting out there. But when we align with it, when we go out in nature, we align with its natural algorithms, which then aligns us with our own natural algorithms. So when you send love to a situation or to people, you are helping them to align with their spiritual essence and the algorithm of their own divine nature. So, in this sense, by sending love, you allow them to, you soothe them with their own divine nature, or with the divine nature, if you will. So I get a sense in this week that we want to, instead of trying to put out the fires by jumping into the situation and kind of getting caught up in it, or judging others, or creating an environment where people don't feel safe because you are never satisfied with them, or you feel that someone is never satisfied with you, send love. show up as love and allow this love, the algorithm of love, of our divine nature, to soothe the situation into harmony. And don't be afraid of what needs to kind of come up and come out. That might be a part of the process of things, the seedling of whatever is developing to sort of make its own adjustments. So sometimes when we see people, um, let's just say for an example, there's an outburst or some outpour of some kind of emotion, see that person in a process of of an attunement, that they're attuning to their divine nature by releasing energies, emotions. And so, if you were going through your own attunement, what would you prefer? Someone to judge you and shame you about it? Or would you prefer someone who you could feel safe and comfortable around to just go through that process and hold space for you? So I'm not quite sure how this will play out for all of us in this week, but it's important that we keep an open mind and an open heart so that we don't take anything personal and not just make it about us, but just give space for this process of divine healing and how that might be showing up for all of us. So here we have the devil card. And so this gives us a sense of some kind of well, we see this fire on the feet here, on the hooves of this God, I can't remember which, this sheep or ram, and this might not be the ram. I don't know. I can't remember which animal this is right now for some reason. But the thing is that there is this temptation to sort of, and this stubbornness. So it almost feel like this digging in your heels. Like this week, don't be tempted to dig in your heels, to stir up stuff, or to allow yourself to be stirred up or roped in to things that aren't healthy for you. Be aware of the patterns and really trust your intuition. When something is brewing or something is going to go a certain way, and it's so familiar to you. And it's that sort of sense, like you're like, oh my God, you're like, you see that this person or you see this situation is going to go this way and it's going to go really negative and in a really bad way. Trust your instinct and step away from it. Now, what's going to draw you into it is this judgment. So don't pick up the rope. Don't pick up the rope. This I was in a teacher professional development day, and this high school teacher was just giving us on classroom management. And when a student is, tapping on the desk or doing these things that are irritating you, and it's this student, they'll do it all the time, or these students. And the idea was to not pick up the rope in that moment, to not go and correct them when they're doing the thing that irritates you. Instead, to circle back around to a point where they're doing something that you can praise them for, right? So instead of giving negative feedback to negativity, let that sort of fizzle out and come back around and give positive feedback, love to positive actions. And if you can look at the face. He's got this sort of look like he's got his head sort of cocked to the side, like smiling, looking at you like, "Now what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now?" Like stirring up some trouble. So a little, it's an energy of instigation here, and that's the whole thing. To the instigation, just don't pick up the rope. Don't respond. Don't allow yourself to be goaded in. Okay, or maybe it's a goat. But anyway, the point is, here is an opportunity for you, because with this the goat here is sort of the Capricorn sign, and the and Saturn ruling that sign of Capricorn. So here is what's really important is applying discipline. So when we see the Devil card, it's about we have to apply spiritual discipline to the situation. And so maybe something's going to test you in order to give you the opportunity to practice this discipline of compassion and unconditional love. Now, don't worry about failing, because you can never fail. But you can always circle back around with showing your love. All right, so here we have the Six of Cups. And so this gives us a sense, the Six of Cups kept coming up in the monthly angel zodiac readings. For like 5 of the zodiac readings, this card came up, I believe. And so here it is again, and it's this sense of something is deeply rooted. So with the Devil card here, this is telling us something about the past, that there's this this trigger, this very strong trigger that can easily, get your goat, so to speak, right? That easily, you can be goaded by or instigated. And so this is something that you really need to be aware of. Since we have the Devil card here and the Six of Cups, this is something from your past that you really need to pay attention to. And it was something that came up for me this week. I meant to write it down. Every time I kept forgetting to write it down. And that just goes to show you how something like this is, because I was aware, I said to myself in a similar way, I don't, not to react to this. This is something that I don't have to react to it. And it may not even be anything like something that could trigger me, but that like something like that might trigger anger. It's something very subtle. That's why I can't think of it. It's so subtle and not, it seems harmless, but it's nonetheless a pattern that's affecting an area of my life, and I'll remember it when I get off. But so I wish I could think of the example, because I want you to not just look at what you think is an obvious negative. It's something like loud and something like a trigger where you just lose it. It's something. It could also be something very subtle, just a pattern that you notice. It's just a pattern. So be aware of this in this week. I can't see the card. Oh, the Son of Cups. All right. And so the Son of Cups might give us a little bit more of a sort of a situation of romance, right? So I mean, this week we have Valentine's Day, and so it's possible that there is some triggers in this week. Um, whether it's this is not a your whether loneliness triggers you, not being in a relationship, or you're recently broken up in a relationship, or your partner irritates you in some way, is not being as romantic, or giving paying attention to your needs, that kind of thing. I mean, because with the devil card here, this kind of really changes who this person is being. If this person, if there's someone who is cheating on you, or you feel you have these feelings of distrust, okay, the thing about it all is, how is where is this coming from in you? Not if the person is cheating on you, but if it's about something else, or that you had this pattern of distrust, that pattern will show you why these things are happening now, or why you're perceiving or believing without real evidence or proof why these things are happening now. Okay? I mean, and so the one pattern might be, oh, so I think I remember. So in a past life, I was sort of, it was like the 20s, and there was these performers. They were dancers, because I saw them several times in a vision. And then I had a dream. So I was in a class, and all of a sudden, a spiritual class here in New York City, and they asked us to stand up and introduce ourselves. And when we did that, when we said our names, the entire group would say our name 3 times. Well, when that happened, all of a sudden, I saw 3 gunshots. And very quickly, in this flash of Barry, 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 the whole group said, it was bang, bang, bang. And I was getting out of a sort of a silver Rolls Royce on a red carpet, and somebody shot me. I later had a dream about these 2 dancers, and then I had a dream, and not a dream, I had a vision of these 2 dancers, ballroom type dancers, like Fred Astaire kind of thing. I don't know which one I was, the female or the male, but still haven't figured that out. And when I had another dream that was a love triangle. And so somebody of the 3 shot at me when I got out of the car. And so this all related to when I was very young, I was afraid to dance. It wasn't until I was like 7 years old, my Aunt Yvonne finally got me to feel comfortable about dancing in front of other people, because she was also one of those angelic, loving souls, like Miss Sparrow. And so she made me feel comfortable and good about myself. And so I finally started dancing after that point. It also made me realize why I am about sort of being a celebrity or anything like that, or being widely known in my singing was also an issue for singing. So as a child, I was afraid to perform in front of people. So in my very, very early years, like when I was a toddler, then so you get what I'm getting at. So this made me realize also, maybe there's some things that maybe with relationships. So this subtle kind of thing might be something, as an example here, to help you understand that it could be something very, very subtle, and it could be really deeply rooted in a past life and a past life relationship. So whatever you're experiencing, whether with of all those different types of scenarios I could have possibly mentioned, be aware that, one, you're making it about the present tense, but it's not. It's about the past tense. And so before you pick up the rope and create more stuff going on in your present life, make sure that you stand back, take a step back, and have compassion for yourself and whatever it is in your past or past life that might be presenting itself to you, only so that it can be healed. And again, you can't be afraid either of, the emotions, the process. I forgot the phrase I used before, but you can't be afraid of that process of attunement that you might be going through or somebody else is going through, in order to get from under that situation, to let it go. So I feel like in this week, everybody's going to be sort of having an attunement of their divine nature, a realignment with their divine nature, which means that there are going to be some adjustments sort of happening in various capacities. And so you have to hold space for yourself, hold space for your feelings, but also be aware of your true self, the truth. Whatever those thoughts that your ego tells you about you, thus that's where you really have to listen, that you're not good enough, that everybody else is more beautiful or more fit or more healthy, whatever it is. You have to first appreciate yourself the way you are, the full picture. Because the way we look, our size and all this is just a facet. But what is the whole package that is you? What is I don't know why I want to say this word. What's the darling of your soul? I don't know what that means, but hopefully you will. It's sort of like you're dear, you're darling to the universe, but all of you. And if you want to if someone has inspired you, if you want to be influenced or follow or pattern yourself, but make sure that it's inspiration, because you can then achieve that. But if you feel inadequate, then that will just become this huge campaign of struggle and pain and suffering. So one of the things that's been coming out this week is all things are possible. All things are possible. Now, when we first hear that, we think only about the positive, and that makes us feel like, no, everything's not possible. But first of all, the reality is that all things are possible. That is to say, from the worst to the best, it's all possible. So that makes the statement, all things are possible, factual. Well, let's say 98%. Of course, those little 2% things that we're thinking about, they would say it was not possible because of physical laws or whatever. But in your imagination, it's possible. And who's to say that someday it isn't going to be possible, right? So remember, we're infinite and powerful, and man has been proving to himself, if, hundreds of thousands of years ago, they could see what we are doing now, these things would have been impossible. So that little 2% of what we think is not possible, based on what we know now, will be debunked in some time in the future. So all things are possible. And then you have to see within yourself what you really want, what you're inspired to want. And you have to believe that all things are possible. And if you're experiencing the worst of it, that's because all things are possible. And it's because you're focusing and believing that this is what you deserve. But if all things are possible, what you want is possible. What you deserve and what you desire is also a part of all things are possible. So when you say all things are possible, you first understand that all things are. And when you can accept that, then you can accept that what you want is also possible. And then you can accept that what you deserve is also possible. And it might be that a little bit of both, but a more of, in this week, what you deserve, what you now may realize you deserve, is possible. All right, let's take a look at the card I pulled from the bottom of the deck. And it's the Mother of Wands. And so we get this energy of what we see in the card, the snake just sort of huddled around and protecting the eggs. And so I get a sense that in this week, you really need to protect your energy. You need to protect your divinity. You know there are going to be some triggers in this week for many people. And some of you, maybe not at all. But in any way that you are triggered, protect your energy. That is to say, adjust your lens, find the things that will make you feel safe even in a time where you might not. Maybe this is not the week that everybody loves, right? For different reasons. Then protecting your energy means not just withdrawing from the world. That's not what I'm saying. But it's do something that you love. Give yourself a chance to express your joy. Find an opportunity to express your joy. Don't just focus on the one thing and make everything about that. Find something else that gives you joy and express it in this week. That's how you protect your energy in that way. By being who you are, being true to yourself, doing the things that you love or are passionate about. You might go out with some friends or make plans if they're available, but do something for yourself. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful week. God bless you.